Hi, I'm Travis Monson with Once Upon a Board Game. Today I want to teach you how to play this great little card game called Point Salad. And this came out several years ago. I think it says 2018. So it's been around for a little while, but it's really fun. We've had a lot of fun playing it over the years. It says 2 to 6 players in about 15 to 30 minutes. And I'd say that's about accurate. Once you know how to play, you can play it even a little quicker. I mean, the turns and the rules are very, very simple. This is a very family-friendly game. Young kids could very easily pick this up and play it with the family. It's all about set collection. You know, you're drafting these cards to form a little tableau of cards in front of you, and each card is going to score differently. There's kind of a fun saying, you know, in a board game, when there's lots of different ways to score, board gamers typically say that, oh, it's just point salad. You can score points in a lot of different ways. So this game is kind of a double meaning, because there are literally every single card in the game has a different scoring condition. So there are literally over 100 different ways you can score points. So point salad for the ways you can score, plus the vegetables. So I know I'm dorky. I laugh about dumb things like that. But anyway, it's super quick to set up and play. Let me show you how it works. Okay, as I said, I'm going to be teaching how to play point salad. And here's what you get. In the box, you just get a big deck of cards. I do want to point out that each card has, on one side, there's a vegetable. Yes, I'm going to call a tomato a vegetable for purposes of this game explanation, so don't want to argue with anybody. But on one side, there's a vegetable. On the other side of every card is a scoring condition, some way to score points, okay, for either individual vegetables or combinations of vegetables or whatever. So every card has a different scoring objective, and on the back side is a vegetable, okay? And in the deck, this game does play up to 6 players. There's 18 of each different vegetable in the deck. And basically, you know, with the setup, it tells you when you're setting up how many cards to use. The gist is you use 3 of each type of vegetable card per player, okay? So in a 2-player game, as you can see, I've got 6 of each card, right? So that's what I've set aside here. Obviously, with 3 players, I would use 9 of each card, you know, all the way up to all 18 of each card for the full 6 players, okay? So that's how you would set up. So you would just randomly separate out the number of cards equal to the number of players. And since you're using only a portion of the deck with these lower player count games, and because this is such a quick game, it does even mention in the rule book, it says, hey, you know, if you're playing with like a 2 or 3 player game, for instance, why not, a 2-player game uses effectively 1/3 of the deck. So why don't you play 3 rounds of the game and just add up your combined scores, you know, because that way you won't even have to reshuffle, you know, just use the 1/3 of the deck, then play a second game with the remaining cards and so on. And similarly with a 3-player game, you could play twice in a row and just use the full amount of cards between the 2 games. So that is an option, something to consider. It does talk about that and suggest that in the rule book, okay? But basically, the cards that you're not using, you just go ahead and set aside. And the cards you are using, you're going to set it up. Obviously, they're all sorted. So you want to mix it up thoroughly, and then I'll show you how to set up the display to start the game. Okay, so here's how you set up the game. With that deck of cards that we made, you know, with you basically using 3 cards of each vegetable type per player, like we just talked about. You take that deck, mix it all up, and then get 3 equal stacks, okay? From those stacks, put 2 cards from each stack right below to make your little market display here. Now you're ready to begin, okay? So the game is going to begin, obviously, with a start player, and you're going to take turns going around the table in clockwise order until the game ends when the cards are gone, right? It's as simple as that. When the cards are all out, game over, and you're going to add up your score, okay? So how does a turn work? Well, on your turn, you have 2 options. You can either take 1 of the scoring cards that are visible, or you take 2 of the vegetable cards from the market below. Okay, so it's either or every turn, either 1 of the scoring cards or 2 of the vegetable cards. And you just put them in a little tableau in front of you. At the end of your turn, you're going to refill the market, and it would go to the next person. Okay. There is an optional action that I'll mention once per turn. You could basically flip over a scoring card in front of you, turn it into a vegetable. I'll explain why you may want to do that later on. You can only do that once per turn, but it's only ever turning a point card into a vegetable, never the other way around. So you can never turn a vegetable card into a scorecard, okay? All right, so 1 of those or 2 of those, okay? That's your turn. So if I'm the start player, I'm going to go first. So let's talk about these point cards for a second. Like I said, every point card in the game, every card is different. They all have different scoring objectives. Okay, here's some examples. This card tells me that I'm going to score 1 point for every carrot and 1 point for every lettuce at the end of the game. Okay, this one says I'll score 3 points for every onion, but then cabbage and tomatoes are going to lose me a point each. This one says tomatoes are worth 3, but I lose a point for carrots and onions. Okay, and cards do Every card is going to score individually. So if I had both of these cards in front of me at the end of the game, basically tomatoes would net gain me 2 points apiece because I'd gain 3 points for each one here, but I would lose a point here. So you get the gist. Okay. So that's an example of what some of the cards are. If there's some interesting ones, I'll mention and I'll kind of talk about how they work as those come up. But personally, I usually like to start the game by taking a point card. I give myself some type of, focus, some objective to go for. So I think I'm just going to go here. This is just a simple one. There's already a couple of carrots and lettuce in the display. I'll take this one where all those are going to be worth a point. If you draw a card from the point card stack, that's it. There's no display to refill. So my turn is over. It comes to Allie. Allie will similarly take a point card. This one, for instance, is for every set of one of each of those 3 tomatoes, onions, and lettuce, she'd score 8 points. So Allie's thinking, well, there's no tomatoes or onions yet, so maybe that's not quite as exciting. Although I will mention this. You can see on each point card in the corners, you can see a vegetable. That is the vegetable that's on the other side. Because you know that if somebody takes these cards, you will refill the empty spots from that display. So if someone takes one of these, a tomato card will come down here in the display. So that's something that you can always think about and plan ahead. Like if I know that there's a card that's like maybe a certain point card that's going to really benefit Allie, I might take a vegetable card just so that point card gets flipped over to refill the display. So there is some gamesmanship and there is some selective drafting, to prevent other players from getting a really good point card. So just something to think about. So Allie's thinking, okay, she can see there's a couple of tomatoes coming, so maybe she's going to go for this one that tomatoes are going to with 3 points apiece. So she likes that. So then it's back to me. Again, I want carrots and lettuce. So I'll say, you know what? I'll just take one of each. So I'll just set those cards in. So I'll get all my scoring cards here and my vegetable cards below it. Then again, this display card refills here, and this card refills here. So then it's back to Allie. And again, she would like tomatoes. There's only one. So carrots and onions are bad. She's thinking, does she want to take another scoring card? Well, maybe she will in a minute. She will. She doesn't want carrots and onions. So maybe she'll take a tomato, and if she takes a cabbage, this will become a tomato. So she'll do that. So she'll take these two. Okay. So this comes down, and this comes down. Back over to me. Okay, there's no more lettuce. I could get another carrot. This is basically so every pair of onion and cabbage is worth 5 points apiece. Well, that doesn't jive with this goal, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. For the fewest total veggies, so add up the total number of cards, of vegetable cards that you've drafted, whatever person at the table has the fewest, that would mean, so basically if I take this card, I want to be the person that has the fewest. If I don't have the fewest, I won't score those 7 points. That's how that card would work. And then, of course, for every set of 3 cabbage, I would score 8 points. So, well, why not? I'll take a carrot. And I will take, I'm going to take a tomato just so that she can't get it. And then hopefully I can get a tomato card later on. And she's like, why'd you do that? You don't have any goals for tomatoes? I said, well, I don't want you to have it. So then these both come on down and she gets a tomato anyway. So she laughs at me. All right. And she's thinking, wow, okay, this is tomato and cabbage and lettuce all together get 8. She's already got one of each and she wants more tomatoes. So she's thinking, as much as she liked this tomato, she really would like that scoring card. So she's going to take that. Okay, so nothing refills. It's back to me. Do I see a card? Okay, well, look, here's another thing with carrots. Carrots, nothing with tomatoes. That tomato card didn't help me. There are some peppers and cabbage. Maybe I get a pepper and cabbage. Maybe I get that goal. Plus, it keeps a tomato from going to Allie. So I'll take that goal. Back over to her. She definitely wants those too because that helps fulfill that objective. So she'll take another tomato and another cabbage. So these both refill. Back over to me. Ooh, every 3 carrots is 8 points. I've already got 2. Every lettuce and onion and carrot. Well, I'm already going to go for, what do I want to do? You know what? I think I will take this guy. I'll take that objective. Okay. Back over to Allie. Allie, she needs some lettuce. There's still no lettuce out there, although she can see a couple lettuce might be coming. So she can get another tomato, which would bring a lettuce down. She doesn't necessarily want onions or carrots. Peppers don't do anything bad for her, so she'll maybe take a pepper. She'll take this pepper so that this lettuce comes down. So she'll take those 2. And then, of course, those 2 lettuce cards come down. She likes that, although I like that as well. But I for sure want at least, you know what? This goes hand in hand with this. Every pair of carrot and lettuce gives me 5 points. Well, I'm trying to go for that same pair. So I'm going to actually take that card too, even though I want some of those other ones. Not sure if my cards are all fitting on the screen. So it's back to Allie. She definitely wants some lettuce. If she gets 2 lettuce, then she has basically 2 sets of all. Yeah, she's gonna do that. She's gonna take those 2 lettuce. Let's scoot her stuff. Whoops. Let's scoot hers over a little bit. Okay. Then we would refill the display. Okay, it's back to me. I like that there's more carrots, but I would really like to see more lettuce as well to get pears, to get the 5 points as well. And this is telling me cabbage and onions. I don't have any of those yet. I just took it to spite Allie so she wouldn't get a tomato. Ooh, 2 points for every tomato. Allie really wants to see that. Ooh, I don't want to necessarily let her get that one. And this tells her if she has an even number or odd number of tomato cards. For an even number of tomatoes, it's worth 7. An odd number of tomatoes is worth 3. The fewest lettuce would be 7 points. I don't necessarily want that because lettuce is good for me. So I don't want to take that. I don't want to let Allie make her tomatoes worth 5 points apiece. So I think I do want to get a pepper and a cabbage. So I think I'm going to do that. I'll get a pepper and a cabbage. Sorry, I'm running out of space here. I'm trying to make it all fit on the screen. So I'm going to refill. All right, back to Allie. She's got 2 sets of that, so that's worth 16 points already. And this is already worth 9 points. There's no more tomatoes to get. Does she want to get more? Ooh, this would make her cabbage worth an extra 4 points apiece. So one pepper would be worth -2, but you know, she would still net 6 points. I think Allie wants to go for this one. She wants to get this card. And then maybe get some more cabbage, hopefully. So then nothing changes, so it's back to me. Still no lettuce. I'd like to get more lettuce so I can get those pears for 5. Or peppers and cabbage. Again, I've got 1 set, but there's no more out there. There's a pepper. Maybe I'll get a pepper and a carrot. I'll do that. How about if I'll just take a pepper and a carrot. So carrot and pepper. So these 2 cards come down. And it's back to Allie. Okay, Allie will take this. Yeah, carrots are -1, but if she can maybe get a carrot or 2, she's already got a couple of tomato and lettuce. So she's thinking she's going to try and get a carrot to get some 8-point combos. Now, what happens when the display is gone? Okay, well, you just take whatever stack is the big. This only has 2. This has 4. You take whatever is the biggest stack. You take about half of the cards from the bottom of the stack, bring it over to make a new stack. Okay, eventually you're going to run out and it's going to be gone because the display ends. You know, that's what ends a game. The cards all get used up. But when a stack runs out, take the biggest stack, take the bottom half, and bring those over. And that's how you refill the display. Okay, so back over to me. I would like another lettuce. There's no more cabbage to get another pepper cabbage combo. Carrot and onions, that doesn't help me. There's a whole lot of onions out there. Allie doesn't want them because the onions are worth -3 points for her. Ooh, maybe I should try and stick her with some onions. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a lettuce and a carrot. Allie's like, oh, that was mean. That was mean-spirited, I can hear her say. And Allie says, you know what? Oh, she will. Yeah, you know what? Allie will do this. Allie will take this point card. And I'll show you why. Because this is one of those things I mentioned at the beginning. Once per turn, you can take a point card and you can flip it over to become a vegetable. Okay? You can never take a vegetable and turn it into a point card. No, that's not allowed. But once per turn, you can take one of your point cards and flip it over. And you may want to do that. Like if at the end of the game she realizes, holy cow, I'm going to lose all these points for onions. Maybe she wants to get rid of that thing where onions are going to lose her all those points. And she can just turn it into a vegetable. So for right now, Allie doesn't necessarily want the scoring objective, but she wants 1 carrot because 1 carrot will give her the 8 points for having 1 tomato, lettuce, and carrot. So she'll do that. So let's slide Allie's cards over a teeny bit. I know it's kind of coming off the edge of the screen. Okay, so back to me. And I'm almost, ooh, there is a lettuce I could get. There's no cabbage. Oh, there's a cabbage. That's upside down. That says, ooh, 3 points for every carrot. I like that. 3, 6, 9, 12. Ooh, I really want that card. So I'm going to take that. And then it's back. So again, we can't split one of these stacks to refill that. So that display just remains empty. It's back to Allie. Allie, she's seen all these onions. She's like, oh, I don't want the onions. So Allie will, she definitely doesn't want to get a -4 points for every tomato she has. So Allie will, sure, Every lettuce is worth 2 points. I think that's her best option right now. And it's back to me. I'm thinking, okay, onions are worth, onions are bad for me too. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that card. There's a whole lot of onions out there. Although I could say I will take a lettuce and a pepper. So I'll take those two. So this guy comes down and Allie's thinking, well, she for sure wants at least a lettuce. And she will take an onion. She has to take an onion. So the onion is going to be worth -3 points. Ooh, she's going to get stuck with 2 onions. Does she want to turn that? She'll think about that in just a second on her next turn. Because she can do it once per turn. I have no choice but to take 2 onions, which is going to net me -4. But then the carrots is 3, 6, 9, 12 -4. Yeah, that's still 8 points. Yeah, I think I still like that card. And then back to Allie. Allie would have to take the last onion. But before she ends the game, she's thinking if she turns this over, she would get rid of the -2 points for that card for onion. So she'd be gaining 4 points, but then she would lose the 8 points for the cabbage. So this card still gets her 8 points -4. Yeah, this card still gains her 4 points. Well, she loses 2 for the pepper also. So this card, it still nets her 2 points. Whereas, if it was a carrot though, if it was a carrot, she would have a whole nother set. Ooh, she really likes that because then she would have a second set of tomato, lettuce, carrot. So she will, even though she's going to give those 8 points up on cabbage, she's going to forego the -6 points for those 3, and she's going to give herself another carrot for this card. She likes that. That was a good option. So the game is over, right? So all the cards in the display are gone. So now it just comes up to adding up the cards. Okay, add up all the point cards for what we have in our tableau. And again, every card scores individually. So every vegetable card basically counts towards every single point card. Okay, so for instance, for me, this card says 3 points for every carrot. So 3, 6, 9, 12. -2 for every onion. So there's 2 here. So there's 4. So 12 -4. This card scores me 8 points. Okay. This is 5 points for every pair of carrot and lettuce. I've got 3. 3 is my limiting factor there. So I got 3 pairs. So this is 15. So 8 and 15, I got 23. This is 5 points for every pair of cabbage and pepper. Although I had 3 peppers, I got 1 cabbage. So this is just 5 points. So the 23 and 5 is 28. And this is 1 point for every carrot and lettuce. So from the 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. And then for every 3 carrots, so I've got 1 set of 3. So I can just score that once for 8 points. So 35 plus 8 is 43. All right, so my score is 43. All right, so over to Allie. Try and slide hers over just a teeny bit more. Okay, this says 2 points for every lettuce. 2, 4, 6. So this is 6 points. Okay, this is 3 points for every tomato. So 3, 6, 9. -1 for a carrot. So from the 9 points, 8, 7. And -1 for every onion. 6, 5. So this is worth 5 points. So the 9 -4, right? So that was 2, 4. So 6 and 5 is 11 points. And this is 8 points for every set of tomato and cabbage and lettuce. So she's got 3 and 3. Oh, she's got 2. So she's got 2 sets. So this is worth 16. Okay. And this, she's got 2 sets also. She's got 2 carrots, 3 lettuce, and 3 tomato. Yeah, so she's got 2 sets of this. So 16 and 16 is 32. Plus this was 5. 37 plus 6, 43. Are you kidding me? Did we tie? 43 to 43? Wow, we tied. I don't remember the last time I don't remember if I've ever tied in this game. I had to consult the rule book. It says if 2 players are tied in total victory points, then the player who played later in turn order is the winner. What? That's lame. That means Allie wins the tiebreaker. Oh, that's ridiculous. So in a 43 to 43 tie, Allie wins because she played later in turn order. Bummer, she beat me. That sucks. Oh well. That's how you play point salad. So that's point salad. As you can see, it is so easy. It's just take a scoring card or take 2 vegetable cards and go until the cards are gone, right? Pretty simple. You can teach it to anybody. But it's so fun because every single game is different. Every single game you have a different combination of scoring objectives. You have a different set of vegetable cards that are available to try and fill those objectives. And so you're always trying to make the two work together. And when can I pivot? And you know what? I was going to try and score this, but now I see that's going to be bad. I'm going to lose points. So I'm going to change that into a vegetable card and go in a different direction. Like Allie did at the end to get that tie and then win the tiebreaker. Oh, I can't believe she beat me again. Oh, well, not a big deal. But that's point salad. It's just quick and easy. And again, we've had it for years and we've always had fun with it. And pretty much everybody that we've ever taught it to has really enjoyed it. So hopefully this teaches you how to play and you can sit down and play it yourself. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I appreciate your time and your willingness to watch. Give me a like and a subscribe if you can. And I appreciate it. Once again, I'm Travis Montz with Once Upon a Board Game. Thanks.